Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Chef Vic Cuisine. Today, we're making mini baked Alaska, the perfect holiday dessert to present on your dinner table. The hidden ice cream and brownie melt in your mouth in this amazing treat that's made in this version small enough for everyone to have their own. So, let's get started. Alright, so to get things started, in a medium-sized pot, we want to add 4 ounces worth of semi-sweet chocolate, following that up with 1 cup of unsalted butter, and we're going to put the sauce pot over low heat or 225 degrees Fahrenheit or 107 degrees Celsius. We want to move the butter as it melts to prevent any of the chocolate from burning onto the pot. You could also use a double boiler method to prevent the chocolate from burning onto the pot as well. We also want to add about 8 ounces worth of milk chocolate to the pot as well. Now you just want to keep whisking all of these ingredients together until the butter melts and the entire consistency is smooth. And so once it looks like this, now we want to add half a teaspoon of instant espresso powder into the pot. This will really boost that chocolate flavor. And we're also going to follow that up with 1 tablespoon of pure vanilla extract. Mix all these ingredients thoroughly, and then once they're all well combined, you want to remove the chocolate from the heat and allow it to cool slightly. Now, while the chocolate is cooling, we want to crack 4 eggs into a small bowl, and we're also going to add to that bowl 1 cup of granulated white sugar, mixing those eggs and sugar together until they're well combined. Now, in a separate small bowl, we want to mix together 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour with half a teaspoon of baking soda and half a teaspoon of salt, whisking those together until they're well combined. Now we want to transfer our egg sugar mix into a large bowl or into the bowl of a stand mixer and whisk those until they become light and pale. And once it's looking like so, now you want to add in your chocolate mix to the bowl as well. Whisk those together until they're nice and combined. And finally, we want to add in our flour mix to the bowl and whisk all these ingredients together until they're just combined to create your brownie batter. And always make sure you scrape down the sides of the bowl as well to make sure that all the ingredients are incorporated. Your batter should end up with a smooth, flowing consistency. And then we want to pour that batter onto an 11-inch by 16-inch parchment paper lined baking pan and just allow the batter to spread evenly, as we're going to transfer this to an oven preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius, and we're going to bake this for about 10 to 12 minutes. And once it's done baking, we want to remove it from the oven and allow it to cool to room temperature before placing it into the fridge to chill entirely. Now, an hour before serving your baked Alaska, you want to remove the pan from the fridge and use a 2.5-inch cookie cutter to create at least 12 to 14 brownie discs from this pan. Removing them from the fridge an hour before serving them allows them to get that consistency we're expecting from a brownie, instead of it feeling like a frozen fudge disc. So with our brownie base made, now we want to move on to creating our meringue. And for that, we're going to need a total of 6 egg whites. And while I'm cracking these eggs, here's a brief history of baked Alaska. If you haven't had it before, baked Alaska is a dessert that consists of ice cream and cake that's covered in a meringue and then traditionally baked. I'll show you my own method on how I finish off a baked Alaska. The origins of the dessert can be traced back to the late 1800s when it was first created in the United States. So into the bowl of a stand mixer, we want to add in our egg whites, followed by half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. And the cream of tartar acts as a stabilizer for the egg whites to make our meringue more easily formed. And if you don't have access to cream of tartar near you, some recipes even use cornstarch. But I like to start this mix on a low speed to dissolve the cream of tartar into the egg whites at first, and then I increase the speed to medium until the egg whites become white and frothy. And once your egg whites are looking foamy like this, now you want to slowly add in 1.5 cups worth of granulated white sugar, switching your mixer to high speed as you add in the sugar. You then want to continue whisking this until you start to see medium to stiff peaks form in your meringue. I'm happy with this final consistency of the meringue, as it's pretty easy to spread as a topping. Now on to plating. Starting with one brownie disc, we want to add a 2-inch diameter scoop of ice cream on top of the brownie. And working quickly as our ice cream will tend to melt, we want to quickly lather on some meringue onto the ice cream and the brownie. And the key here to making a good baked Alaska is to make sure that the ice cream is frozen solid before it's covered with the meringue. This will help prevent the ice cream from melting during the toasting process. Now, traditionally a baked Alaska is finished in the oven, but what I like to do for more control over the heating is to use a hand torch and selectively toast all sides of the baked Alaska. This also helps the meringue hold its shape. And using a kitchen torch instead of placing the baked Alaska in the oven to toast the meringue will not only help with not worrying about the vanilla ice cream underneath melting, but also giving you a little bit more control on what gets toasted versus what doesn't. And then you just want to repeat this same process with the rest of your brownie discs, vanilla ice cream, and meringue, making sure to place each finished baked Alaska in the freezer while you're working on the next to prevent the ice cream from melting. And with that, they're ready to be served and enjoyed. And just like that, you've made baked Alaska right at home. This is truly a classic and elegant dessert that can be a showstopper in any dinner party. Baked Alaska can also be served with a variety of toppings such as fruits, chocolate sauce, or even caramel sauce. Try using your own favorite ice cream as a variation for this recipe as well. But when you do try this recipe, be sure to tag me at Chef Vic Cuisine or hashtag Chef Vic Cuisine so that I can see your great takes on this recipe. As always, this recipe and many more can be found in my cookbook, Chef Vic Cuisine Volume 3, Upgrading Your Inner Chef, and that's available on Amazon, and I'll be sure to leave a link to that in my description box. And feel free to click the pop-up on your screen for more information on that as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this dessert recipe, and if you did, make sure to smash that like button for me. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Victor, and welcome to Chef Vic Cuisine. I like to share delicious recipes each and every week that you can make for you, your family, or your friends. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to hit that subscribe button too. And sharing is caring, so if you enjoyed this recipe and think someone else will too, feel free to share this with all your family and friends. And stay tuned for next week where I show you an awesome recipe for these colder months, my Pop's Turkey Chili, an amazing recipe given to me from my dad that I'm sure you're all gonna fall in love with. Well, thank you all so much again for watching. I truly do appreciate it. Your support means the world to me. Check out more recipes on my page now. YouTube thinks you'll like this video, so let's see if they're right. And I'll see you next time on another episode of Chef Vic Cuisine. And until then, peace.